What is going on, everybody? This is Yes, I Read That, and today I am reviewing A Higher Loyalty by James Comey. Once again, this is a very political book, a very current and interesting book in my opinion. So yeah, not the usual fantasy or sci-fi book, but a very interesting book nonetheless. It's a pretty inspiring book by the former FBI director James Comey. I thought it was a very inspiring book. Comey talks a lot about ethical leadership, what a good leader should be, about his decision-making process and his story and what eventually led up to his firing. I did like it a lot more than Fire and Fury. So yeah, disclaimer once again, I am not from the US, I didn't vote in the election. I'm just curious what's going on in the election, in the politics right there, and yeah, that's why I read this book. So first I want to start by talking about the content of the book and what Comey actually wrote about, and then give you my likes and dislikes and my score for the book. So as I said, in this book, the former FBI director James Comey shares his experiences and his career leading from law school over prosecuting the mafia to finally serving under Obama and Trump as the FBI director. Now the book actually covers a lot of Comey's early career, which means some pretty unimportant jobs that he uses to highlight what a good leader should be in his case, what a good boss can look like. Then he talks in depth about his career after law school, where he prosecuted the Gambino family, the mafia, where he met a lot of mafia members for the US Attorney Office, and then he was assistant US Attorney at first until he became the US Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia and then the Southern District of New York. And then finally, of course, he covers his role as the FBI Director from 2013 on. And that basically is the most interesting part of the book for me. Here is where he explains how he dealt with the Clinton email affair in depth, his decision making, a lot of his decisions on why he wanted to announce something publicly or why he didn't want to do that. And he always stresses how the FBI should not act in a political way. And he really cared about this, but at the same time he also showed how during the 2016 election, the FBI became more and more involved and got dragged into politics a lot more because of the Clinton email affair and finally because of Trump's Russia investigation. And then, of course, finally, he talks a bit about his relationship with Obama, which was very distant and they were both acting very professional. And how that changed when Trump was elected and his meetings with Trump, where the Trump team immediately tried to bind him to the Trump administration and tried to include him, whereas he always thought, and how it should have been, that the FBI and the president are very separated because the FBI handles the investigations and the non-political stuff, and the president and his administration spin like the political put like the political spin on it and try to turn it into the best scenario for them. This is also where he compares Trump to a mafia boss, because Trump expects personal loyalty and he explicitly asks Comey for loyalty, which just is something that shouldn't be done to a FBI director. And he never wanted to publicly announce that he is not investigating Trump, because the FBI was investigating in the Russia affair, but they were not directly investigating Trump. However, Comey learned from the Clinton affair that once he makes a public announcement and the state changes, then he will have to announce that again. So he didn't want to make another one, and this eventually led to him being fired by Trump without prior notice, just boom. So yeah, for me the most interesting part was his decision making in the Clinton email affair, and also how Trump tried to bind him and maybe was just not politically savvy enough to know that he shouldn't be trying to have, dinner with the FBI director, because that's just not something that should be done if they are two separate entities. But yeah, that's obviously what happened, and I thought it was very interesting. So I get to my likes and dislikes about the book now. What I liked about the book is that it was actually surprisingly inspiring. As I said, Comey talks a lot about ethical leadership, and he talks a lot about his decision making. And I mean, hearing from a man like him who was FBI director, what he thought a good and ethical leader should look like and what a decision making process can look like as a leader. I think those are very interesting things, even if it's not connected to the Trump or Obama administration at all. And it just shows that he really thought about a lot of the decisions he was making, and he thought in depth about them and wants to explain some more in this book, because I guess he felt like the media spin that was made is not really doing him justice, and I think he explained himself very well. I don't really want to compare this to Fire and Fury because the books are very different, but I know that a lot of people are gonna do it, and so here's my opinion on that. In this book, in A Higher Loyalty, there is not the slandering and bashing that is going on in Fire and Fury. It felt like Fire and Fury was just this mindless, one-sided narrative where the author really tried to rub it into the others that they are dumb, incompetent, and I don't know, it was just so subjective. In this book, Comey instead focuses on his decision making and really details what was going on and showcases his opinion, but he's still letting the reader form his own opinion of everything. So in my opinion, that's the much better approach, and I really enjoyed A Higher Loyalty much more. So what were my dislikes about the book? Well, the first thing is that I didn't really know a lot about the book going into the read, and it turns out it's more like a biography, and I was expecting it to be more like only political. So in the beginning of the book, there's a lot of Comey's early career, and honestly, I just didn't care about it. I don't really know anything about Comey. As I said, I'm not from the US. I'm not really that intrigued by this single person, that a lot of the stuff just didn't seem that interesting to me. But after reading it, it was, I mean, it's usually like this in a biography. Everything leads up to the end, so if you want to skip something, it's not really good. And even though I didn't find it very interesting, I guess it still had to be said, and it was still his biography, so yeah. I just didn't find it very interesting. But yeah, that's really the only thing I didn't like. The writing was very good, and the content was very good as well. So my final score for this book is an 8 out of 10. As I said, it's a very good book, but I still feel like most people will read this because they're interested in his dealings in the Clinton email affair and his dealings with Donald Trump. But like more than half of the book, I think, is about his early career and just really not that interesting if you're coming from that perspective. So yeah, I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. And if you read the book, let me know what you thought in the comments below. So yeah, this concludes my review of A Higher Loyalty. If you liked the video, maybe drop a like, maybe sub to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye!